Hi everyone, this is Boomer for Caravel Gaming, and today I will be going through the campaign with the Sliver deck. Now, something that made me want to do this is that I pretty much lambasted this Sliver deck when it first came out. One of the main reasons being that if you look at the achievements for Magic 2014, you can actually see that there is an achievement for winning a game with the Silver Hive as a deck, which doesn't really fill me with too much confidence. Now, what I've got here is the original build of the deck here. Oh wait, no I don't. I'm actually going to reset the deck so you can see where I was coming from in terms of not particularly liking this deck. The deck's built around the Sliver creatures, as you more than likely know. Slivers these days are pretty much based on, I think that's either the alien or the predator. They all have this stupid hair and look way more human than they used to. But under this occasion, with the striking Sliver here, Sliver creatures you control have first strike. And the idea of the deck is to get as many different Sliver types as you can out. They'll all benefit each other in the same way, and then you overwhelm your opponent pretty much with that. Each individual card isn't that powerful. There are a couple which are quite good, but most of them are either fairly or overcosted for what they do, so you have to use them in multiples before they become any good. Path to Exile, very good removal spell. You do have to be a little bit careful when using it that you don't give your opponent a big advantage as far as board position goes, but overall about as efficient as you get for removal. Shock, again, very efficient removal spell. None of the Slivers in this particular deck have evasion of any sort, so therefore you have to use removal spells to get through, unless your creatures are just so big that you pound your way through anyway. This guy is the heart of the deck, really. Predatory Sliver, cheap guy, 2 mana. All Sliver creatures you control get +1/+1, so he's essentially a 2/2, and he makes all your other guys bigger as well. But this is where the deck sort of goes off the rails at what it wants to be. We've got Rampant Growth here, which allows us to search our library for a basic land card and put it on the battlefield tapped. And we also, if we come up here, have Cultivate, which allows us to search our library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put one on the battlefield tapped and the other in your hand. And the reason these are in the deck aren't because there's a huge top end. There is a decently sized top end, but it's not huge. The reason they're in the deck is this. We have a 3-colour deck with very little in the way of actual mana fixing. In terms of the lands at least, all we've got are Terramorphic Expanses. There are no lands in Duels of the Planeswalkers 2014 that I'm aware of that produce 2 different colours of mana, so we have to deal with bad cards instead. However, I will be dropping these cards because I just don't... I will certainly be dropping the Rampant Growths out of the deck because they just don't do anywhere near enough in this deck, and I think that we can do a lot better. I might keep a couple of Cultivates. Sliver Construct is just a 3 mana 2/2 that gains all the abilities that other Slivers give to it. We have better cards, I'm going to get rid of all of those. Steel Form Sliver, again, it's just a 2/3. It buffs up the defense of your Slivers, but I'm not really looking to buff up the defense of my Slivers, so they're gone as well. Blur Sliver, Sliver creatures we control have haste. That's one of the heart cards of the deck again with Predatory Sliver, so we're going to keep those because haste is really good. Hive Stirrings looks similar to Sliver Construct in the fact that we put 2 1/1s into play rather than just the 1 2/2. However, with all the abilities on the Slivers, Hive Stirrings is just way better. Because if you have a Predatory Sliver in play, a Sliver Construct will be 3/3, whereas if you cast this you'll have 2 2/2, so you'll actually have more power on the board. So Hive Stirrings is a lot better under those circumstances. As you can see here, full cut, 4 Cultivates. I'm going to get rid of at least 2 of them, and we're going to see what else comes. I'm going to keep a couple in because I am going to be increasing the top end of the deck. So I am going to want at least some guarantee I'm going to hit my land drops, but that's about as far as I want to go. Bone-sized Sliver, 4 mana for a 2/2 that gives all Sliver creatures you control double strike, so he's essentially a 4/2, and Double strike works a bit weird. It gives your creatures both first strike, and your creatures deal first strike and normal damage. So this will deal 2 damage as first strike, and then normal combat will happen as well. So again, this just outrageously increases the amount of damage your slivers can do. Thorncaster Sliver, 5 mana for a 2/2 isn't really a great deal, but its ability of whenever a creature attacks, a Sliver creature attacks, deals 1 damage to that creature or player, makes this a pain to deal with. If you have Blur Sliver in play as well, this is going to clean up 2 or 3 creatures on your opponent's side of the board whenever it's cast. Battle Sliver, just big sliver, gives all your slivers +2/+0. And speaking of big sliver, Megantic Sliver here, 3/3. Sliver creature you control get +3/+3. So he's 6 mana for essentially a 6/6 if you play him on his own. If you have other slivers in play, that's usually going to be a game-ending swing. This guy's terrible, 7 mana for a 5/5 sliver creature you control. Trample's irrelevant, so let's get rid of that. Okay, right, so we've got 47 cards that we've taken out here, and we're going to have some things that we're definitely going to be adding in right off the bat from our unlock cards. The 4th Predatory Sliver and the 4th Blur Sliver are must-adds. Faith Fetters doesn't really do anything, it's just a pacifism. Not really the right type of deck for Faith Fetters. 3rd Battle Sliver is definitely interesting. I might add that. I'll put it in for the moment and then we'll see what we might want to take. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put cards that I might want to play in and then we'll see where we go. 3rd Path I'm going to want. Unflinching Courage probably not. Coat of Arms definitely. It's basically another Megantic Sliver style thing. Each sliver gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares at least 1 creature type. Actually I'm going to hold... It might be one that we take out because Coat of Arms used to be good in the old style Sliver decks, and I'm talking very old style here. Because all Slivers used to be was a bunch of 2-drops. So you used to just make 3 or 4 slivers, drop Coat of Arms and swing for the win. Whereas now slivers are a lot bigger and more expensive. I'm not convinced at how effective Coat of Arms actually is. Lifeline is basically a case of causing a really big headache. It's usually very good against decks which don't rely so much on creatures, they rely a lot more on spells, so it just means that your creatures just keep coming back. Most of the decks in Duels 2014 are creature based, so I'm not going to put Lifeline in. Wild Pair, 6 mana enchantment, it's a little bit too expensive. It does have a powerful effect, but it's just a bit too slow. Couple of Megantic Slivers here, I'm going to add them in, but I'll probably be taking at least some of this stuff out. Bifuricate, search your library for opponent card with the same name as target non-token creature and put that card into the battlefield. Again, the only card I'd really want that for is Megantic Sliver or Battle Sliver or something like that, and if you've got one in play you're probably winning anyway, so again this seems very much like a classic win more. Survival of the Fittest is a ridiculously powerful card. Basically it lets you search through your library for any of your slivers by discarding one, so I'm going to put that in. Inferno is just a big Wrath of God, and I have no idea why I'd want to play that in a creature deck. Savage Beating, again it falls along the lines of sort of a win more card. It either gives you an extra attack phase or it gives all creatures you control double strike, and you can actually get both abilities for 7 mana, but that's a lot of mana. Oop. Thorncaster Sliver, I've already said this is good. I'm going to put at least 1 more in, maybe 2, but we'll see how that goes. Armageddon, again, in the old Sliver deck this was incredibly good because you just dropped 2 or 3 slivers in the first 3 turns and then you blew up every land in play. Again on this I'm not sure how easy it is to get ahead with this deck, so I'm actually going to leave the Armageddons in the sideboard at the moment. I very well may put them, in fact I'll put them in and I'll see how the deck goes. Indestructibility, 4 mana enchantment, enchanted permanent has indestructible, inefficient and just really not what this sort of deck's after. Yep, I want the extra bone side Sliver. Mirror Entity is a 3 mana 1/1, not very impressive so far, but it is a changeling, which means it's a Sliver basically. It has all creature types, and this ability here, which just makes all your guys bigger and they still retain all their Sliver abilities, just means that this guy is pretty powerful. And the other thing, Titanic Ultimatum, 7 mana. Again, if you've got 7 mana and enough creatures where this is relevant, you're already winning the game, so it's a win more card. Fiery Justice deals 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of creatures or players. Target opponent gains 5 life. These things are really good in creature matchups. So we need to take out 4 cards from the deck. So let's have a look here. I don't want to take out land, at least for the moment. I'm going to follow my original instinct here, and I'm actually going to take out the Armageddons, because if you look here, number of creatures at 3, we've got 3 Hive Stirrings, 4 Blur Slivers, 2 Mirror Entities, 4 Predatory Slivers, and Striking Sliver. It's not as if we are... I mean, we've got enough creatures at this level, but it's not as if we're putting an overwhelming force on the table in the early game. The decks which really took advantage of Armageddon were the ones that could put like a 5/5 into play really early and then Geddon, or put like, I think the oldest style decks used to put Urnham Jin in play or something along those lines, but I'm going back many years at that point. So we've got 2 more cards to take out here. As you can see, we've got 10 cards now, which cost 5 or more. That's way too many. I'm going to again follow my instincts. I'm going to take out this coat of arms. It possibly might be a mistake, but I'm going to live by the sword, die by the sword there. And basically I think it's Megantic Sliver pretty much means I win the game, so I'm going to leave that in. Thorncaster Sliver, can I get away with 2? It's either that or Battle Sliver. I think I'm going to lose a Thorncaster. And I'll play it like this and see how it goes. So I will see you for the first round in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.